So just because we started recording now, I'm gonna talk with those that are watching the recording. So this is for you. This call is supposed to be just ResonantOS, and then we're gonna start the Resonant DAO call. But today we merged them together because we need to talk a lot about what is happening with the Resonant DAO. And today we need to discuss about the reward system and the reputation and so on, and how we should start implementing this functionality, because it's not going to be on off on everything. Of course, it's going to be on off on, it's going to be a slow release of the different reward system. We need to decide together which kind of reward we should have, prioritize them, and also decide how much we should reward for any of these tasks. So there's a lot to talk about that part. Then an update. Today I was supposed to receive the hardware wallet that would allow me to start the DAO. Okay, it's required, so I create a wallet that the only identity exists on a hardware instead of a computer. Therefore, it's impossible to hack, and the security is connected to hardware device where you need physically to press it to allow the token to be moved, the contract to be run, and so on. This creates a much level of security for the DAO itself, which is, as the moment, even though we run on the DevNet, so it's not live. Nevertheless, we start to implement a level of security. When we actually go live, we are going to go into multi-signature. So it's not one single wallet. It's going to be a series of wallets that need to sign together. So it's not just one person responsible for everything. But this is going to be when we go live. For now, one person is enough. But the problem here is that I didn't receive this hardware, which was supposed to be delivered today. And I'm just looking at the email. We updated the estimated delivery time to the 14th. Today is, so it's tomorrow. So that's the news. It's going to be tomorrow, hopefully. All right. So before we start with working with the talking about this DAO reward system, is there any question, any update, anything that anyone wants to share?
I have two things. One is related to the number. We could do at the end. But I can try to prepare something for the how we can advance to. So maybe I can say later. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly you have in mind, but yes, we can definitely discuss this. So I don't know if you want to start talking and explaining what you have in mind. It's
Yeah. Which one first? Number, then. Yeah. I'll send the link and everyone can see. I'll share too. Then just open.
what is you're sharing as well.
Yeah, I'll share too. Sorry. So this is just a website presentation that I made yesterday. So the idea was that we didn't have any method to have the number. Probably would be just like some voting, And I think why not do something more interesting from each? So I created this idea came to my mind, so we could create a time capsule. So everyone can send one word, or could be more than one, and we get all these words from the people, put it on a time capsule that will release some words in 2, 5, and 10 years, and get these words to create a number or a ciphered number from the words, and having all the meaning and sentiments that the everyone is putting on the DAO.
Sorry, just so I like what you're saying, but I'm not sure. I'm not totally sure I understood. It to me at the moment it feels like you created this. You know, you put this message inside a bottle, and then you throw this bottle in the future, and in 10 years' time you're gonna open it. And but I don't understand what's the purpose for it.
I thought it was the
Just to
number
have
for how many
some
tokens we
ritual.
have.
Yeah, to get how many tokens? Because we can get all the words and create just one number from each.
Okay, so
So
but what's the 10 years time you said?
yeah, it's like because just getting words and not doing anything with it wouldn't have any sense. So I thought of the time capsule. So for example, we could say that we have a set of words that is for what we expect from the DAO in 2, 5, and 10 years. So we just
Okay.
the basic idea with DAO. Yeah, so everyone could put their current state today and how they would feel, want to feel in years, or what they expect that we will have in 10 years from now. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, now it's clear. I like it. It's
It's a great idea.
I like your way of thinking. You turn this challenge into a sort of collective art performance. At the end, at least I see in this way. It's nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We can do it. We should definitely do it.
Should we
And
set like a time for a week for the process to do this so that we get it
Yeah, we
done
could improve
in
on
a
it. It's just
fairly close order, because it's a founding number that we're establishing, and we do want to get it done fairly soon. So we'll announce it soonish, give everyone a week to contribute, and then do the number crunching, and then that's it.
will help Victor Morrow. He has the cipher that you use. So yeah, it's like collecting. I think we should improve the how we are
Is
going
it
to
just me
select the
struggling to
words.
hear
I think
Vladimir?
here is just saying one word, but I think maybe
Oh,
it
he's breaking
could
up for
be
me too.
three, it could be more.
I too.
And one of the sorry,
yeah,
I
now we lost him.
probably am glitchy. Yeah,
So what we could
sorry
do,
guys, man, not so good.
yeah, don't worry. I think there is also a delay between
We can
us.
do later.
Thank you. But yeah, probably I mean, the token creation, the number of token that we need to create is a part of. It's connected to when you create the DAO. So you create the DAO with a specific number of tokens. So in some of the two things goes together. So unless we have a decided number, it doesn't make sense to create the DAO. Okay, the DAO comes with a token.
So
yeah,
what Vlad's suggesting is that we have this period where everyone can put content towards a time capsule. The content of the text of the time capsule is hashed or ciphered into a number, and then that number is then basically the cipher is generated such that it is the correct factor or how many numbers it should be, so how many billion or whatever it is, the approximate number, and then everyone who contributed towards that content knows that the number of tokens, like it's their DAO, it's their contribution, their community, and so the number is they had a part in it. And at the same time, the content subject is what you consider to be your potential future in 2, 5, and 10 years. Is meant so like the idea of the words of what you contribute towards that content.
Thank you for summarizing and explaining this, Sam. Yeah, it makes total sense, and yeah, we should do it. From my understanding, this is individual work, so we might give ourselves a few days to go through this website. I don't understand if the website has actually a way to submit, or it's just a presentation of the system.
We can easily put a submission in the website. That's very quick to do. I'm sure Vlad can do that in
Yeah.
a moment.
The whole idea has a plan and most details of how we will, but adding the numbers, the words and the submission, it's quick. Yeah, we can do this, I think, really quick. So
Yeah, so
next,
maybe what is needed is a sort of a form where there are, the questions, people enter the answer and then submit, and then it's done.
yeah, exactly. I'll improve on it, and please everyone, read it and go through it and send me any other idea and so on.
So to Dustin question, so the res is this speculative token, therefore yes, it's capped and cannot be changed. The RCT is a resonance contribution token. This is the token that you earn and they are locked to your account. So there is no a cap per se, in the sense you will carry on growing your reputation within the community forever. But there might be a cap for a year. So you can only, for example, receive, otherwise people will never catch up. Okay. So let's say that this year, the first year, you can go from level 1 to level 10, and everybody can participate in this leveling up. Then the second year, there is a new cap at level 20. So even people that join on the second year, they can do the 20 years within one single year. Okay, so there is always a way to catch up with the high level, because otherwise, if there is not a cap, people that start earlier are impossible or really hard to how you say, to catch up with. What's this? Can you explain? You can. I don't know if you can talk, but if you can talk, use the microphone and explain this second part of the question.
Yeah. So allocation is when we do releases of the coin. Where are those going? And then how often are we going to do allocations?
So the release of the token of the RES token is connected with the contribution. So we need to that is the original idea why we need a mathematician. Okay, because what is the challenge now? Let's say, just to make number simple, let's say we have 1 million token in total. Okay, 1 million RES token. Now we need to start distributing them to a level that is fair to the community over years. So we can't distribute all the tokens within 1 year. Okay, otherwise the people that come after, there's not token anymore. So we need to do this in a way that, in theory, strategically, that we have distributed around 50 or a little bit less percent within the beginning of the bull run. Okay, within the next 2 years and a half, more or less. Then we have another 50% that the DAO can sell during the bull run. So the DAO have a way to make money, okay, as well as the community has a way to make money because they can sell their own token. Okay, that is the idea. Now, what is the amount of token that we should cap for every year? Maybe we do this math that I just explained and say, okay, if 50% is need to be within the DAO for the next in the next 3 years, we have 3 years time to distribute,
release the other half.
Release the other half within the community. So if it's 3 years time, we might divide it in 3 and say, okay, this is the cap for the year. So that is the maximum that we can give. And
is
then
that
we
the
have
runway target? You think 3 years?
Yeah, it's connected with the bull run. Okay, so in 2 years and a half, we're gonna have this the phase where the bull run is gonna start again. Okay, of course, this is all theoretical because nobody has certainty about the future.
But you wouldn't accelerate because of a bull run, right? Because that would cause inflation.
What? Sorry, explain me.
You said it's dependent on the bull run, and I'm trying to clarify. Does that mean that if there's a bull run, you're going to release more coins?
The goal here is during the bull run, the price is going to go up of this token, token. Okay, so that is the right moment to sell it. Both
the ones that are already in circulation.
I mean, it's the community; those are in the hand of the community, so the community can decide whatever they want. Okay, so
so I would suggest that when we do distributions, say you want it's going to be 3 years, so you've got whatever 30 million a year or whatever the number was, 10 million a year. Of that, some percentage of it is contribution rewards, but some of it goes into reserve. And then that way, when it's time to sell in the bull run, the community has a reserve pool to sell rather than saying, hey, the price has gone up, let's release more tokens out. Because one is inflationary, the other's not. Especially if you declare it, and maybe even more if you don't, that when the price goes up, we're going to dump a bunch of these and sell it. It's going to drive the price back down. And so your community members will be in a tricky spot, because if you're saying, well, we're going to release a bunch now, if it's in this reserve pool, then everybody knows up front that this is the amount that could get sold. Because when we as a community sell a big tranche of them in a bull run, the price will constrict because of it.
So yeah, I see your point, but it's what we need to token for the liquidity pool. Okay, so when we launch the liquidity pool, we're gonna put this 50%, let's say, inside the liquidity pool. So and therefore it's fair and transparent. Now the money are there. If you want to buy, you buy. If you don't want to buy, don't buy. Doesn't matter. But it's not like we dump inside the market. Okay, because it doesn't work in this way. We only sell if there are buyers. So it's not like we're gonna push these whatever. The market will decide how much they're gonna buy about it. But in theory, that is the fair way. So it's the market to decide the price, and there is liquidity inside the market. Otherwise, it's impossible to even fix a price. Okay, deciding the starting price. And now it's this thing that I'm saying. Like you spot a lot of different challenges about this. Is complicated. Okay, it's not easy, but there is a different moment where you need to release this. So if you create even a liquidity pool in the next 6 months, you don't put the entire 50%. You only have a mechanism that those tokens get released inside the liquidity pool at a certain speed. Okay, so you find the speed, where it's constant for the next I don't know, 2 years and a half, whatever. Okay, in that way, is clear and the impact is minimum to the price.
That's right. And if you stay on that structured release, that's all is that when you said it's connected to the bull run, I just want to make very clear the idea there that wasn't to release more of the unreleased off schedule to take advantage of the bull run, because that'll screw up the economics for sure.
Yeah, no, the goal is to be ready for the bull run. So it's connected to the bull run. So we consider the cycle of Bitcoin, and we time our release, our structure, our strategy connected to that one. So the goal is to maximize the value of this token, and therefore the community and community member get as much as benefit out of this opportunity.
Great.
Someone is telling me that I have an echo. That I don't know if it's a hardware echo. It
actually was coming up when both Dustin and Manolo was speaking, so I'm not sure where it came from.
Try now. Can you hear me fine now? There is echo.
Yeah, it starts at nothing and then it comes up. For me, I don't know if anyone else has this perspective, but it came up after like 10 or 15 seconds of conversation, and then it just stayed with you for the whole conversation. But I don't know if it's my perspective or something else.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, seems fine at the moment, but just thought I'd mention it in case it was something obvious.
Is there any other questions on this? Okay, so now let's look at the so let's look at the problem we have. Okay, I mean the challenge. Now we have to decide what kind of what we reward and how much we reward ourselves. So to make it simple, instead of thinking in token numbers, let's think about a token value. If let's say that one token is $1, what should be how much we should reward for our contribution, and what should be part of this contribution. So there are different kind of I'm just thinking loud, okay? There are different kind of contribution. The contribution to build for example, the software that runs the DAO, the ResonantOS, and so on. That is one kind. Then there is a contribution to build the DAO, the community. And then there is a contribution to develop the community itself. So building meaning bringing people and I don't know, these community, how do you call it, community leaders work as well. That is part of the building. But then there is for example, the other people that are doing events within the community. Okay, this is another kind of contribution. So there are a lot of different things that we are doing that we need to look at them, list them, and say, okay, for this kind of work, we should give maybe is even a range. Okay, so what is because in somehow each contribution is also an incentive to do more. So you are contributing for the work that you do, but it's also there is an incentive for others to do. I'm going to do the same because there is an opportunity, a financial opportunity there. So we can work in a different way. One of these way could be that we divide ourselves in a couple of groups, and each group works individually without a precise guideline, and they start to think how this should be solved, and then we compare notes, or we look at one problem at a time, and we still work maybe in groups, but we have a more guided structure.
Does anyone have a series of questions that we can distribute as a document that need to be answered?
No, but I think those questions could be the work that we do by itself. Okay, we start thinking what are the questions that we need to answer. So again, I could just give you everything, but it's not how we should work.
Breakout rooms would be my preference. Are they transcribed?
No, but if each one locally records and sends it over to me, I will put it in the same document.
So we can, is it part of my Zoom that I can click record on my own session?
You should be able to.
Okay, I'll figure that out when I get there.
Yeah, you should be able to record now and also when you're in the breakout room. And then I'll give you a link where you can dump the recordings.
So how many of us we are? Let's say
17.
17. I'm gonna be excluded. I'm gonna go around those groups. So let's say 16. If we divide the 4, it's 4 per group, which could be a good number because divided by 5 is 3.2 per group, and it's gonna be challenging. So 4 groups, 4 people per group. Pretty good.
Four groups, just a moment. Okay, breakout rooms are created. You should be able to join yourself. If you're on a mobile phone, it might be a bit difficult. We should be able to dump you there if you're on a mobile phone. And if you have multiple personalities, give us a minute. Yeah, people have started to join breakout rooms.
Nice.
Okay, I'm off, Manolo. You can message me with any other thing.
Yes, I can't move people, so maybe move those people that are still here into
Okay.
breakout room. Doesn't matter. Group in the whatever numbers, okay, whatever random.
Yep.
Sorry, Chimo, I need help.
Yeah, that's good, Melissa.
I always need help.
Me too. You're going to room 2, Melissa. Stop moving. Yeah.
So actually, we are not 16 because Tom has also his computer.
Where is Tom number 1? Oh yeah, he's in room 2.
Enrique and Bianca are coming back. What's happening? No, maybe it's my video.
No,
Sorry.
I never left.
Yeah, no, it's my
Not
video.
going back.
And Enrique and Bianca, I don't know if you've been part of the event organized by Kerry.
That's it. The chat that I mentioned.
Okay.
Can you see on the chat here? There's a separate group called T-Shed. You can see that you can talk to Mel there for that separate group. Because we need your handle so she can DM you on Discord. Because we couldn't find Bianca. I think Enrique might have a message already. But if you look at your chat here, you will see that there's everyone, and then there's another box that says she said.
Okay.
So please get in touch with her, and then you will find out more.
Okay.
It's exciting.
So is that off of Zoom then? Is that on Slack? So we need to break out with her. There's no breakout room for us, right?
I'm going to send you to, no, this is a separate conversation. I'm going to send you to Breakout.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's for a group that Mel has started with Kerry. Orbita 24. Why don't you go to room 3? I'll join you there in a minute. And then...
Yeah, I joined on room 4 with my mobile, but then I switched to desktop, but I'm not sure why I'm not automatically joined. We'll try again.
I'll move you to room 3.
3. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, because otherwise... And then Henrique, I'm going to put you also on room 3. And then I'm going to go... Oh, they're all the same number.
So maybe...
I'm going to go to room 2 because there's 2 Toms. There's 3 Toms there. Yeah.
So yeah, go there. But let's do this for like half an hour.
So 9:05. Yeah.
Yeah. See you in a bit. Anyway, I can't move myself though.
I can assign a room and you can't. Yeah, let me make you host. But I don't want my thing to crash or my record.
No, so don't worry. I'm not gonna go any room. I'm gonna
I can move you around. I'm gonna move you every 5 minutes from a different room. Okay, right, you go into room 1.
Do this thing.
How are people contributing now, and how do we track it now, and then build off that. That's just how my brain works. It doesn't mean it's the right way to think about it. So if
I think you got a good point. We don't need to not just think how people contribute now. We have to think how people are going to contribute in the next 5 or even 10 years, how that's going to evolve, somehow predict it.
Yeah, which is hard because is it the plugins that are going to be, and that's just assuming that the plugins end up being a thing in the future. I would imagine it would. It's hard for me to imagine a world that it wouldn't matter.
I think we go like a little more broad, right? We've got big group projects that people contribute to. We've got at least one community space where people are contributing to, and we also have Zoom, which is another community space. So we have like just showing up is a contribution, right? But then actually building. So I think we look at it a little more broad because you're right. How in the future are we going to know? Is it the plugin in this thing? Is it a Chrome extension? That part of it will be fluid. Are we going to always be on Discord? Like, who knows? But what we have, like these big contribution buckets, like, are you contributing to the community? Are you contributing to the communal builds that we're working on? Probably our 2 biggest ones.
Yeah, the community and the builds. And then again, I go back to the beginning, which is how do you how does it matter if somebody shows up with their AI agent? Because obviously in the future, things are going to be even more advanced than they are now. And today, people can have a bot for Discord and check in and check boxes and like posts or crawl pages and do all sorts of things. And do we care about that? Or do we want to have a different token for bot interaction? Because it may be valuable to have our AI agents contribute for us, because there might be a point where, I mean, I don't want to say my contribution would be useless, but it would be different than my AI agent. My AI agent has different skills, talents, and abilities than I do. That's the whole reason why I have it.
I think the bots are going to be everywhere. I mean, you can already see with have you guys seen like the leaks to do with Microsoft, the new version of the Windows operating system that's coming? Yeah. And hang on, I can't hear too well. So so I'm thinking definitely the bots, definitely. Yeah, lost my train of thought. I'll remember it in a second.
Yeah, I was just saying how in the future, if we want, I mean, it's one of those things to like fight against, like any bot activity, fight against any agent activity. But is that a battle even worth fighting? And do we want to encourage people to use AI within the system, you know? And it may be useful to have people throw up their AI agents on a project or use their AI agents in the DAO or in the community in a certain way. And perhaps that's a different coin altogether. They log in with a certain wallet and get rewarded for their contribution versus human contribution. We would have to verify that it's a human, right? It's like how do you verify somebody's a human without compromising their security and their privacy?
I think
And where's the line there
I think
for all
with
that?
how AI is now, I mean, it's kind of like it's not like it, but it's the best comparison I can think of. If somebody uses their calculator, it's a tool, it's an extension of them. So I think some of these AIs and how how they integrate with like operating systems that have AI as a central feature of them, that I think they're going to be seen more as like this is somebody's hand rather than it's an AI. The AI is kind of like connected to that person, like a limb, in fact. Well, that's how I think. Like a calculator, would that person is using that calculator, that person still did it, it's still connected to that person.
I mean, the contributions need to be attached to wallets, and then trying to figure out who's got a wallet and if that's a person or not is probably way past our scope. I don't think we should spend resources on that. It's like, was there a valuable contribution? It doesn't really matter where it came from. You already don't know that there's accounts on our Discord that are bots, right? There's people that have looked at my Dustin account and probably have no idea that that's like my second one that's primarily a bot running it. So like,
Can
it's
sorry, can I suggest something quickly? Because I don't think about the problem of the technology. It's not a technological problem today. It's what would you like to be rewarded? Let's say you want to be rewarded for coming to those Zoom call. Good. Put it in a list. Write it down. So we need to create a list, a physical thing. So write a list of what you think should be rewarded. Okay, don't think about the software. Don't think about the challenge. What you want to be rewarded for, you or you reward someone else for, and for how much. Okay, how much do you want to get rewarded to come to this Zoom call, for example? Okay, that's what we need to come out with. A list of rewarding items and the amount of token that at the moment we think like one token is $1, and then we have at least elements so we can start with. So it's not a technological challenge today. So don't worry about if it's an AI, if it's trying people to gain the system. Don't worry about this thing. Let's start with what we think we should be rewarded for.
Anything and everything that was contributed.
Yeah, but we need to list it because everything needs to be turned into a smart contract. So we need at least a proper list of this and the amount of token for each action.
We've got to start making these huge lists of everything, all the variables, and then building the system around it, the infrastructure around it.
Yeah, like even just reacting to somebody else's post, like liking it or hearting it, or
definitely doable.
Oh, Dustin, I think you're breaking up.
Yeah, it's really hard to hear you, Dustin.
Or maybe creating like a list, the Zoom calls, somebody presenting would get more tokens than somebody just passively listening. Is chatting during, so if you're typing in and you're chatting during the Zoom call or during the daily calls, I would see that as a contribution.
It needs to also be a bit of safeguards. I mean, I'm going to touch on it a bit. Safeguards, because say somebody comes in and they start spamming, that should also be kind of a negative value to do as part of the system. So the moment they start spamming it, it decays their value. So they are enforced. The system, in fact, teaches them to positively contribute rather than negatively.
I like that.
Yeah, and we have an algorithm that we've worked out that can help to dissect and then even evaluate the contribution as it's happening based on their input, the emotional state, the amount of interaction, that sort of thing. But that has to be tested. That's all new stuff.
Yeah, and what about these side channels? Like I've been going into the coffee hour. I love the coffee hour, by the way. And it's actually very cohesive with a lot of companies' cultural protocols. So like if you go to Pixar, you go to these huge campuses of tech, successful tech companies. They build their buildings in a way that are very inviting and encourage people to interact. So they have like all these little sections where people can just stop. Like if you run into somebody in a going from one meeting to another or leaving work or whatever, there's like a place to just go off to the side that's quiet where you can sit and talk, because the talking and interacting is highly, highly encouraged. And I think that one thing that's going really well in the Discord right now are all these breakout rooms and this coffee hour, because it's very casual. And these ad lib conversations they've shown tend to bring forward a lot of creative ideas. And because I don't know if you've noticed, but when I have a creative idea, if I don't act on it right away, it like loses its luster. There's like this luster that wears off over time. So the faster that you can get people interacting, ad lib, and working together in that way, the better. Yeah. Yeah, so that's just one example, is the coffee hours. And I don't really know how to say if that's more valuable than the daily meetings. Like, I don't know how to say what is the most valuable contribution. Like, what is the most valuable thing somebody can do in the community?
For me, the most valuable thing is growing and reinforcing the human connections in the community. I mean, we could separate the technology aspect and the human aspect, and we can see it in the way things are trending in the community, as you were saying, Melissa, with the coffee and the conversations. We even wave from, I'm building this, I have this problem, people discussing something very technical, and then it becomes very human and those two need to go side by side, or
never underestimate the social aspect. I totally agree.
Yeah, and maybe we establish categories of values depending on whether it's tech and building, or whether it's the community and people and listening, support, learning, teaching, I think.
Yeah, or it's all based off of time. I think Victor and I were kind of talking about this the other day during a coffee hour, where it'd be interesting to track or reward per second or per minute or you'll have to go to him and ask him exactly how he interpreted that. But that was also interesting. Is it the time? Are we tracking the time and the impact, or just the impact of the comment or the contribution? Or is it something where you're rewarding the time in the beginning, because we don't really know the impact until later? So it could almost be like a bank that builds, and once the impact of the project is completed or realized, then there's another reward. I don't know.
You should factor both, because some people will contribute mostly time. If I'm a very introverted person and I hate to speak in public, and I don't, or for my capacity, I can't contribute in that, but I contribute with my presence and with supporting the community. And also that gives value to you, who are finding your value in teaching me or helping me or guiding me because of my limitations. That's also a contribution to society for me and to us. So I think you would have those two factors, and then we would. I think we should start saying this is the highest value, and to just start to play with possible hierarchies of values in the list, and then because we will only by going for it and testing it, we will start to see
Right.
what works and doesn't. I don't know.
Sorry,
There's a really high value
Shimo.
one.
Sorry, Shimo, can I be
go
moved
ahead.
to another room, please?
Yeah, you're going to room 3, Manolo.
Thank you.
See ya.
Go on, Dustin.
Manolo's kind of spinning up an internal dev team, with the idea being that it's like a very communal based dev team that anybody could contribute to, and that will be a direct correlation between dollars or real currency and our token, because people will be forced to buy our token to hire our community to do development work. And so that's probably a pretty high, like if you're contributing to those projects, that should earn you. I would weight that one pretty heavily, because it's directly increasing the value of the token at large, because it's that forced exchange of it.
Okay, so I'm going to start to type down. Like, let's, at the moment, if everybody agrees, we put at the top community, how did you call it? Dev team, communal dev team?
Yeah. I guess communal dev team contributions. Right. And that's, that's like specifically targeting like external projects. Like, and just to be clear, Manolo's getting all these requests for builds, and he's like, oh, I have this community of all these heavy hitters. So why don't we collectively start solving these problems for these people that are coming to me, which is a great idea. And wants it tied directly into this DAO. So yeah, and I guess that makes sense. Communal dev team contributions. Slightly different than like communal dev team contributions to our internal projects. Like ResonantOS would be an example of our current internal project. Although this group, I could see us having our own Discord/Zoom hybrid solution here in a couple months, because why not? But so those, I would put that one, like for now, right now, that would be my number 2. That would be my 1 and 2.
Repeat the name of number 2.
Same thing, but for internal builds. These aren't ones where dollars are getting thrown at it. It's we're building it for us, for ourselves, to make our experience here better.
Cool. Any other contributions that you want to see in the list? Anybody? So that's on the tech side of things.
Hosting a call. Chimo should get all the points. Coming to a call, talking at a call, talking in the chat in a call. I would say anything that we can, like, it's very hard to use an AI to dupe. So like your face on camera, right? That's a big one. You turned your camera on at a call and we saw your face. That your AI can't as easily do that.
Yeah.
Documentation?
Sorry, go again, Mr. Hayes.
I was just thinking documentation. You know, when somebody writes files and produces like images, produces a YouTube video. I'm just thinking off my head, you know.
Yeah. Documentation. Yeah. And
what about like sorry, I didn't mean to. What about, say, you know, as it progresses, we're going to get people like part of the community that will be like making like guides for, and they'll post them to YouTube or other things, even like hosting it on a web page or something. Is there a way to integrate even that? I wonder.
Yeah, for sure. No, because some of this, I wonder if they will be valued higher and they require other members to somehow react to it a little bit to fix it. I wonder if that's part of the difference between listening and talking or hosting or even documenting. Now, if you know, like the
along the documenting, like you know how we have the section where you can share your project? I think that should be rewarded pretty highly. We should like encourage people to build in public and like anything that encourages people to contribute more.
Yeah. Well, and that you can see there just by
that's a good one.
How it builds the conversation, how people contribute to that contribution, and you start to see, I guess, that it would be valued more.
Yeah.
Tom, you are sharing a lot of stuff. Do you want to manage how we put together all this, since you are already sharing a lot there that we can see? Tom?
Yeah, those are some elements that I took from the synthesis of the DAO white paper and all the manifesto work. I just put this together for myself, really.
Yeah.
It's just a page that lines out some of the participation, creative work, the ability to measure impact, and the synergy. And this is not easy stuff, right? Because we're trying to do downstream calculations. But as we said, if we start listing those things, just showing up. I mean, these are almost like badge levels. You get a badge level to be a participant or a contributor, and that way, it kind of validates the contribution pool.
Listing them, identifying them, validating them.
So there's quite a few here in the list.
Yeah. Oh, my list is looking. I'm never gonna share this. It's just looking like a terrible mess. But at least we're discussing and we start to think in different lines.
Every angle. I think you should list them.
I'm listing, but I don't know if Manolo wanted a hierarchy, and I don't know very well right now.
Yeah, hierarchies are hard because I know a lot of what we talked about is like the black and white contributions and the tech side, and I think it should be tech heavy. We do also need to think about the social aspect and how to grow and help people feel welcome. So like when I see a new person, I do try to message them directly, a DM. And obviously interacting with them in a meeting is probably the most value, calling them out, having them interact as a new member, like Dustin said, with the camera on is a high value. And then also the person that's welcoming them should have their camera on. That probably has more of an impact for making people feel comfortable, building trust. How do we build trust as humans over time? Because that's really what it comes down to feel comfortable in a community. You have to trust the person, especially with all this tech stuff. Like people steal each other's ideas. There's all sorts of nasty things that have happened. Bigger companies could try to come in and infiltrate the group. I mean, there's all sorts of like paranoia kind of things that could go down.
Yeah.
I don't need to go all that way. I don't want this call to go that way. But my point is that having a strong base of trustworthy leaders as a part of the group to help build that trust over time, I think is also extremely important. And I'm just trying to think out loud and think of ways that somebody would do that, a community leader would do that, and the way that all of you have done that, because that's the reason why I'm here, because you guys were so welcoming and reached out to me directly. Everybody was so great. Everybody was so nice. And it's like, okay, now I know Chimo. Now I know Tom. Now I know, Dustin and I have talked several times. I haven't had Mr. Geist. I've seen you make contributions. You and I haven't talked directly. But I know you're a real person, and I know you've got great thoughts and amazing contributions. And so I have a level of trust with you over that time, this last couple of weeks. So yeah, definitely, I think reaching out to new community members or even just DMing each other also should be on the list.
Thanks for what you said. I agree with you. There is definitely, you're not the first one that said this about like somebody's concerns. So I don't know what to do about it, but I think I do have a possible idea, but it's not an idea for now. But I think part of the, how the Resonance DAO works and how it can possibly be used as a way of like verifying data could be the way to kind of solve the stealing of the ideas. And in fact, that will probably drive people to more share the ideas, because they can then see the Resonance OS project as a way of, like, validating, that data was originally theirs, and anybody that contributes it becomes part of that data and that value. So you'll have like people wanting to contribute to help that person to make that idea even bigger, because the value will spread.
Yeah, I agree with both.
Yeah.
What you was
And
sorry.
it's hard to do good work and collaborate with people when there's no trust, because the good work requires a certain level of trust and honesty. I don't know how to track that, but
I know, and to make it a little bit more complicated, I would add to what you said, which I agree with everything you two said now. And to do with leadership, it's also quality followers, which is fundamental. People that create a constructive environment that maybe they don't feel like they need to lead ever, but they are contributing by supporting and helping shape things in the background. Those people are so important, and a big reason why we have such a healthy, kind, constructive atmosphere here is because of how people contribute as followers. So that makes it even worse to quantify, but I think it's also very important.
Yeah, I think that reputation element has to help with that to some degree, right? Because the things that you do are quantitatively measured, but they'll have to be qualitatively measured, and that also is related to impact, and impact is reflected in karma tokens. I just don't know how the mechanics will work. Is that, like a rating system? Is that where you just give people karma tokens whenever you want? Someone does something for you and you're like, hey, it's like a Uber rating or something,
Yeah. And I don't know if I like the same rating. I don't know if this makes sense or not, but I have a feeling that the contribution from your AIs will be brutal, fundamental, huge in the early years. And then it will come a moment where that becomes like part of what everybody contributes. It won't be as significant in the architecture or do you know what I mean? Like that would be super heavy the first couple of years, the first 5 years, and then everybody will have access to that level of AI. And then the human will be the key part, I think, or I would expect.
The entropy.
Yeah.
I think it'll kind of evolve, kind of like how we use the prompt now. And it'll take, the ball will go further and further. The context window will be bigger and bigger and bigger and more massive. And the ball will just go further and further with optimized for tiny bits of entropy from our prompts. And like one little idea, and then the AI will literally go, and do all these things.
Yeah, and you will get people that not now, but at a certain stage in years, not that far, you will get super intelligent. When I was listening Carrie talking, I got that feeling. You will get people that it's not about the technical aspect. It's just their brutal intelligence and capacity to organize items in their own brain, that they will be able to extract from that superpower AI more than many of us will. I have that feeling that it won't be about your technical capacity, it will be about your IQ and your EQ. This is totally
there'll be people that are currently not valued that will suddenly become it will become very apparent that this new type of value in these people, and there will I think a lot of them will probably be people that they never thought.
Yeah, What I'm trying to say is exactly for that, Mr. Gates. Is
Yeah. I'm agreeing.
Yeah, the contribution from the AI now has to be super valuable. I don't think, because I heard people talk about how the AI will always be valued less, and I agree with what somebody was saying earlier on in this call. Well, I don't know. I think a really good, powerful AI in the next couple of years is going to be very, very valuable. I don't know what you think.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. And I would also just like to add that there are different types of intelligence, right? There's social intelligence, emotional intelligence, like you just touched on, Chimo, intellectual intelligence, kinesthetic intelligence. Let me see, like lingual. Anyway, my point is, you guys can look it up, but there's like and different lists of this. People have different lists. Some people have list of seven. Some people have 10. But my point is that, with artificial intelligence, it may be useful to, in the outcomes, start thinking about what the different types of intelligences are, not just with humans, but with AI, because AI may never be able to do the emotional intelligence part or the social intelligence part. Maybe it turns out to be more like a autistic, psychopathic, sort of a personality, which is fine. Doesn't mean that it's not, there's psychopaths out there that work every day and don't kill anybody. They just don't have emotions. It doesn't mean it's bad. And there's autistic people all over the world that do amazing work as well. But to have that balance of intelligence, using the community for that. That's the point of having the community, is to fill in those gaps. So
Yeah, I agree totally. Like if you're gonna operate on my body with a knife, I'd rather you're a psychopath and have no feelings for me. And now if you're my oncologist, I'd rather you're not. So yeah, I agree absolutely.
Shimo, it's Shimo, isn't it? I'm sorry
Yeah.
if I'm butchering your name.
No, it's good.
I was also thinking, if this are predictions that we just talked about, would you agree that this is even more so, just in the case of a scenario that they never do get AGI, and we're literally just talking about more and more and more advanced versions of just the current version of the LLMs?
I will operate on that reality because the one where they do achieve that, the AGI, that's not part of what I can predict. I don't know what you
Yeah, I agree.
can't even spell intelligence. I find this quite exciting, but yeah, I think I see what Manolo says about making this super extensive list and start trying to attribute to organize.
I mean, I try not to look too far into the future,
No.
but I can't help myself.
Yeah.
I like to think, oh, this can happen and this can happen, but
Yeah.
I think I just want to touch a bit more on what it's Mel, isn't it? Melissa was talking about value. I can see, like so many years in the future, people will literally be like using these neural devices, connecting it to their data, which is I also think could be one of the things that the Resonant OS could actually be really useful for, and using that type of a data to even like make posts. There'll be value in people who literally, because of how AI has kind of taken over everything, literally have value because of the positivity of their own mind, and then literally post that neural data. Can you imagine social feeds? And then people will be literally feeling that that positive data from their brain and experiencing it. And these people will suddenly become valued because people will want to experience that positive feeling.
Yeah.
new type of celebrity.
Cool. Okay, well, I think our time is out for this. I'm going to quickly check with Manolo.
So this is the trigger, but
Sorry, really quickly.
let's
Shall we stop then, Manolo? It's time now, or do you want a few more minutes?
just maybe a few more minutes.
Okay.
So you just joined the
Yeah, so Manolo now told me we have a few more minutes. I'll wait for Mr. Geist to come. Where is he? I can move him.
I was like, oh no, Chimo left. I don't know how to get back. So I just logged out and logged back in.
Tom, I'm bringing you here. Yeah, so basically we were meant to stop 5 minutes ago, but Manolo said keep going for a few more minutes because they're all like us having a very engaged conversation. So just let's keep going here until everybody returns. We are the main room, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
I struggle to believe in any of this until we start putting it into action. I don't know if you get the same feeling that in doing it, we will find something very logical and very practical that we can't see because we've never done anything like this.
Some things we can't decide on, we can't predict, but we can predict what we do know. We know the LLMs are definitely here, and we know that LLMs are definitely being advancing. So we can probably make reasonably valid predictions based just on that.
Yeah, it's just that the exponential nature of the change is what's difficult to predict, and then how quickly people will adapt to the change, or how quickly people can set up safety measures around all this stuff. Because we all know that these governments and systems move slow, man, but AI does not. AI does not. And we've seen a lot of companies in AI just do what they want and ask for forgiveness later. They don't ask for permission. They just execute. They just execute.
Yeah. And usually in society, you don't get a contribution for, unless you're 5 and you're participating in sports, you don't get a reward for contributing, just for participating. But I've seen already in the group, it's already happening, people that come in and say, I'm building and I'm not interested in a community. And then 2 weeks later, they are thrilled to belong, and to basically what they have done has been mostly sharing their knowledge and helping other people. And that has reoriented them. And that's beautiful to see already when we are in such baby stage.
I think you also naturally drift, and you kind of like find where you should be in the community.
Natural drift. I like that.
Yeah, and I think that obviously you and Manolo have really helped, build the community in this way, but where somebody like me feels like, okay, maybe I can contribute something because I'm not a tech person. I'm working hard to understand how all these AI systems work, and I'm sure I'm building a bunch of shit wrong, and I'm certainly interested. I'm very curious about it, but I like the environment of the experiment. Just experiment. It's okay. That's what we do. We're scientists, right? Like at the heart of it, little people, even my children, they're just little scientists. That's why babies, they pick up things and they drop it over and over. You ever taken a baby out to dinner with a toy? they drop the toy over because they know you're going to go pick it up. They're just constantly experimenting. See how many times mommy's going to pick up the thing.
It's fun. and that's what's important. It's fun, you know. You know, you have to think to yourself, are we having fun? Because I know I am.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and some days I'm like waking up and I'm like, why am I being so hard on myself? Because I expect things to be, I guess I came up with, I started thinking about this because you were saying how, we expect things to be a certain way. Is like we wake up and we think, oh, in a month, I'm going to have this all figured out. And then the month comes and goes and you have more problems than you started out with last month, or more ideas or more projects or more possibilities. And it's all good. It's not bad. It's just all part of the experiment and the learning process. And
it's likely just a natural part of the process, the friction to push yourself outside of where you would normally be, and it's just your brain process literally doing that to push you to where you actually need to be. In fact, by literally using friction, I think, and pushing yourself hard like that is forces drifting in your brain and the learning process. Maybe I need to go over here. Your brain's like, maybe I need to be pushed that way. That's what it's doing.
Yeah, and that's part of the fun, right? Is like you go off on these little like quests, like these little side quests. And it was, so for example, I was building like a daily
I like
brief.
to think of them as rabbit holes.
Yes. Yeah, side quests, rabbit holes. But I think that's where a lot of the fun can be had. And that's in the experimentation, allowing yourself to go down those paths where you don't know what the reward is when you're starting. Like sometimes you start on a path and you have like an idea of what the reward or what the outcome is going to look like. But we're in a place now where we don't know. Like it's so hard to know, and you just got to follow the question. Like the question is, can this work? Will it work? We don't know, but we're just going to try with what we have, and then we'll find out more when we come out the other side of the experiment. Either we'll know we went the right way or we know we went the wrong way.
I'm just going to carry on playing with my Legos.
Yeah, exactly. You need to have fun. It's the process. I'll try to tell this really fast. Somebody I know very well, she had a sister who was a narcissistic, destructive person. She went to the psychologist.
Oh, great.
And the psychologist told her in the first meeting the 5 things she needed to do. And this person couldn't do any of those. They didn't understand. 3 years later, she looks back at that list and she goes, that was the end. I couldn't accept any of it. I needed to bash my head against the wall a few more times to understand what was going on. And now I see, and I think a lot of, that's an extreme example, but a lot of what an AI can present to us now already without any friction or solution, this is what you're going to think in the end of this research and this process. We won't be able to accept. We need also a process. We're humans. We need to go on rabbit holes that don't make sense, but end up also contributing. And from that mess, when you realize, and you accept a deep teaching, which could be intellectual or scientific or of any kind, I think we need that. Enjoy, have fun, be in the moment, enjoy this process.
Yeah, and then it's hard too to not let your brain just be tied to certain rewards, like money or like that dopamine hit. So I think right now a lot of people are going to go through some dopamine withdrawals because they can't afford them anymore. Crack just got really expensive, and by crack I mean Fable, and ChatGPT is probably right behind it. And the reward of being able to go onto Fable and type 5 words and get an amazing output better than you ever expected are not going to be affordable for a lot of people anymore. And we have to kind of retrain our brain to be like, there are different rewards to a process like this, to the scientific process. to asking a question and doing what you can to solve a complex problem, and knowing that it could take days, weeks, months, or even years, you know, and getting through that and finding a way to reward yourself along the way. And I think the community is one of those things. You know, we can come on here and we can bitch and we can complain about agents half doing work and doing things wrong or misinterpreting and context windows and compressions and memory issues and all this stuff. And I think having that community where we can collaborate also, but also complain a little bit. You know, it's fun to complain about the boss or complain about the work or the water cooler or Susie or Karen's, and I think that can make the process a lot more fun.
And I think I took note of what you said, because I think articulating properly why we reward learning, following, or participating, like what you said, there are different rewards to asking a question, doing what you can to sort out a complex problem, finding a way to reward yourself along the way. I think those kind of, that starts to articulate something that it's, you know, you need to shape a little bit better. What does it mean to show up? What does it mean to ask questions? You are helping, you know, sometimes a beginner asks a question and it helps in that conversation to go down to, you know, it's happened a lot, like when Estela sometimes asks a question and goes deep, it helps what we all say, all the different voices contribute.
Yeah, all the different ways of saying things. Yeah, and then there's also a lot of scientific breakthroughs that happen because somebody went and read a paper from, you know, 30 years ago or 40 years ago or 50 years ago, because somebody discounted what people said back then, or older knowledge, or a paper that people thought somebody was being a quack, and they go and they read it, and that spawns the next question in that researcher's mind or that scientist's mind, and kind of rehash it. So these builds build on each other.
There are so many papers from the past now, and everybody is like starting to understand what they were on about. So I can give so many examples of it. So anyway, I think Manolo wants to say something.
Do you want me to close the rooms, Manolo?
Yeah, just give a couple of minutes, and then we close.
Yeah. What you're saying reminds me a lot of the Hail Mary, the book. It's all about that, about recovering a paper published before that was denied and reframing it and realizing because they killed that avenue, there's not many people that have solutions to new problems. Sorry, Manolo, I needed to say that. What were you going to
say? How did it go, your group?
We went
deep.
Very creative.
I don't know if we have a list to show for or anything that we talked about, but I know that Chimo was very diligent and he was kind of our recorder today a little bit. Like at least started writing a list.
I might need some AI to process the bullshit notes I took. But Manolo, a lot of what started to happen is we started to list aspects and we started to try to quantify also, you know, how valuable AI is right now. We don't know if in the future that would be much less valuable, the contribution of a person versus an AI. I struggle to think a good work with AI shouldn't be valued like a person in the moment right now. But then we started to talk about how important it was for us to reward the community aspect of it, the human side of the contribution. And we were trying to articulate how that makes sense, why just showing up, just asking questions is valuable. And there were quite beautiful ways to start to make sense of that in a way that, because it's such a radical statement to say we are going to value learning, you know, but then what do you do? So that I think helped a lot to believe in it in a practical way.
Yes. So one question, each one of you, if you can reply to this, for today's call, how much do you think you should be rewarded? Thinking one token is $1. So today we're gonna do 2 hours call. So what is the price for 1 hour reward for your time? $5 an hour.
For me, yeah, because I mean I'm spending so many hours a week that
You're gonna be rich anyway.
I don't care. You can price it at $0.1 and I'm gonna be a millionaire compared to the money I make in my real life. Yeah, I think 5 is from my stomach. That's the impulsive number, something like between 5 and 10, but 5 I'm comfortable with right now.
Okay. So you guys don't be affected by someone else's number. Just say what is right for you. It's just a way to discuss this. It's not you
What
decide
I
anything.
originally thought was 1 token per minute. So if somebody comes in for 30 minutes, they get 30 tokens. If somebody stays for the full 60, they get 60.
So think about in instead of token in dollars. Is it the same
In
thing?
dollars?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard for me to I have a hard time like putting a dollar amount on the work that's being done because it's, foundational work and it's based in a dollar system and we're like trying to get away from a dollar system in a way. So,
Yeah, but just to give a value. So we are gonna get paid
value.
in token, and let's say one token is $1.
Yeah,
So
what is just somebody showing up and listening to the call?
no, today's call, what your
Today's
contribution
call.
that you did. So let's look at something
My
concrete.
contribution is worth $1,000, Manolo.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So that is what we need to look at. What is the number that you give to the time that you invest?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, quite a bit. I make a good amount of money elsewhere and, my time, I mean, I'm doing this for other reasons, obviously, but just expecting really the community and being able to learn and work with you guys because you guys are awesome. But yeah, I mean, I value my time pretty highly.
So 500 an hour or 1,000 an hour?
Yeah, 500 probably, closer to that.
All right. What about you, Tom? Maybe you're not there. So, well, you
I
guys,
don't know. I was gonna. You're talking to the guy that fixes people's computers for nothing, but I do have some idea how to maybe tell. So, if from my idea is like, I'm not sure if we have like the input or the infrastructure to do it, but I would value it by the voice data that's being used. I would value it by how the other voice data that is speaking after that person is able to be determined if it's positive or negative.
You're finding a technical solution. I'm talking about
That's my
today's
brain.
for today's contribution that you did. Okay, what do you think is the right amount? Chris, also prepare your answer because we need to close the breakout rooms.
Value to it. I don't know. It's just what the value of the time. So I don't know how to value it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's just my brain because I really am that person that somebody comes
I
to me
think
and
he's
like,
worth
fix
500
this,
too.
and I don't ask for money.
You're getting 500 anyway.
Chris, what about you?
So if Shimo says 5 I'm gonna go for $4.95, just to undercut him. But joking aside,
I love
the
Chris.
beauty of the system is that this is what it is. It's an investment. It's something that we do for ourselves, not for salary. And what we make out of it is what we make out of it. So if we want to go big, it just means we have to work more, be better, stay focused, and so on. And
Okay,
if
but you're
we're
not giving
happy
a
with,
price. Give me a price.
I'm sorry,
You don't have it? It's okay.
absolutely not. No.
Sorry, just I'm pushing because I want the other people to join this call. Chimo, can you close the breakout rooms?
I have an idea. I'm actually gonna give a number.
Okay. 20,000.
Right.
Ah.
No, no. I don't know why I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say 2.5, 2.5. What was it? 2.510.
2.510.
Yeah, the number.
$2.51.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think you know why I said that.
Please do enlighten us.
It's too late for me to now.
Let me check that.
Because it multiplies by 2 every time, or wait, no, it doesn't. Well,
No. My number
Chimo,
actually
can you
came
close the
from
rooms?
Vlad's work.
They are closed.
2 times 5 is 10.
Sorry, I didn't see. Sorry, guys, it's my interface that I only see 6 people. I don't see more than 6 people through this. I don't know why.
We're all here.
Yeah, sorry. For me, it was always 6. All right, so we are all back here, and we discussed this. It was pretty interesting for me to actually go through the different room and see how the different thinking was happening. I don't know if you want to present to the other rooms what you've been the thinking process. Well, if you made any decision, if you come out with any numbers, I really like a couple of minutes per group. I mean, even 3 minutes. Just let's give it, you know.
Sorry, who did you ask?
I didn't ask to anybody. It just
is-
this decentralized approach of throwing something and then someone start talking. But now you are on. You wanna talk?
Yeah, we were room 3. I think Vladimir was like leading this. He was writing down. So we were thinking about various ways of valuing, right? So not only attending calls and doing code, but also participating, teaching others. I don't know. We divided this into levels and just count them. I think Vladimir can like read it. And we were thinking like introducing some abstract level about it or above it to kind of discuss how we value things and how much points each effort could bring. And then if we can compare some of these things with different areas, like someone is doing testing and someone else is doing like pasting links into Discord, whatever, can that be compared, even though it's totally different? And I think that's in short, right, Vladimir? Can you jump in? See here. Yeah.
We created some list of different things, and then we thought of maybe the smallest one is like engaging in conversation, posting links. And then we got to something maybe low effort engaging 1 point, middle 10, and so on, creating a scale by trying to measure the effort within each category. Maybe so. I don't know.
Yeah, that will be it. If you are interested into list, we can read it, but yeah, I think that's it.
Manolo, you're muted.
Cheers. So I was asking for anyone else from a different team, huh? And now that you, Chimo, are on, maybe you can be the next team.
Yeah, we were listing all the aspects and trying to understand how we would value the person contribution, the person's AI contribution, and we were evolving into, yeah, probably in an early stage the AI contribution is super valuable, and we would hope and expect in the future it would be very low value. We were talking about in the tech side, the communal developing team the contributions for external projects and internal projects, how much we value also share your project, showcase your project. And then there was a vibe, I'm not sure if I was reading right, where we were all valuing very much the human side of contribution, the community participating or actively, where you're leading, hosting, or whether you're listening, asking questions. And Mel said something that was quite cool about that. There are different rewards to asking a question, doing what you can to solve a complex problem, finding a way to reward yourself along the way. That came up a lot. Like, how do we make sure that we're also understanding the process, so we're enjoying the now, having fun building, we've been rewarded, but we're also enjoying what we're doing. And we were trying to find a way to articulate how that paragraph I read from Mel, now why just showing up is rewarded. How do we make sense of that when it's not? That's quite different to what we have outside here. It was really interesting conversation. It was a lot of fun, and I'm not sure I can make sense of it all.
Thank you. And the last group?
So we had a discussion around participation of the meeting. So what does it mean to be a participant? And we came to the conclusion that you should be rewarded based on, so if everyone's in a meeting, then there should be a level that you are either a active participant or you're a passive participant, effectively, meaning that if you're not doing anything, you're not contributing anything, you're not like showing your video and actually being there, you could be anything or anyone. There's no real value to that potentially. So you have to apply some level of contribution to the meeting, then you are considered a participant. Then you are being rewarded, and everyone gets rewarded the same based on that metric. So basically, it's either you're on or off when it comes to being rewarded for the meeting. Then we talked about a modifier that is applied to you based on your overall thing. So your reputation tokens would affect your modifier, your participation in leading events, leading things, being in Discord, interacting with people in the community or on voice, all that sort of stuff would build up that modifier, and then that modifier affects when you are paid for certain things. But that's not to say that that modifier is applied to everything, because we're talking about things that are like your official events where you're expected to get paid. If you're putting on your own event, then that modifier doesn't come into play there. You'll use that would build your modifier, but that you're not paid based on that modifier, if you know what I mean. That we talked about that sort of stuff. And mine's drawing a blank of what else we talked about. But we wanted to focus on the idea of making sure that if we were to apply a system, that we would have enough controls in the system that gamifying it would not instantly exceed your capability of being able to get a massive modifier for a fake value that doesn't really exist because you found a way to game the system. We wanted to protect against that.
Thank you. I think this call shows how complex is this rewarding system. What I'd like just to show how complex is this, I would like each one of you to write in the chat how much you think you should be rewarded for today's call per hour. Because I went through and this question have been answered around, and you will see interesting numbers coming out. So I see this is per hour, okay? So 35 hours, sorry, $35, $5, $1, $1,000. But I know that Mel meant 500 per hour, so 2,000 per the 2 hours. $30, 2.51, 0, and close to 0, and one after having what? So
You
that
just
is
get to one after you make something concrete.
so for
Instead of
today's
just
so for today's call, how much you would like to be paid per hour? Today's 2
as
hours call, okay? 2 hours call for 1 hour. How much do you want to be paid?
be as much as possible.
Yeah, so
But
put a number. Put a number.
I think one is good.
$1
But
per hour.
Yeah, but I shouldn't be paid right after, just after some condition met.
Yeah. Then we figure out the tech part, but how much per hour? It's is the number that I'm curious about.
$1.
$1 per
1.2.
hour. Okay. So we move from 0 to 500. So let's remove the 0. Basically, 0 is not getting paid. But for the people that wants to get paid, we have from $0 to $500. So the one that starts from 0, from 1, whatever we give, they're gonna be happy because it's gonna be more than 1. Okay, probably the one that starts with the 500, whatever we pay is probably going to be lower than 500, and so they might be disappointed. But if you look at those prices, and most people today were, as usually, actually, is North American. Okay, and from there is this idea in North America that you should stay within, those between $30 per hour for a Zoom call, okay, for a meeting, and which in the other part of the world, it's $35 can be a life-changing scenario if you get paid that amount per hour. A lot of jobs in Europe are paid less than $35 per hour. A lot of them. Probably a big majority are paid less than that amount. In some parts of the world, they get paid really, really little. Look about Philippines and those kind of world. I don't know. I can't remember because I had a look, but it's I think it's a few dollars per day. That's how much they get paid. Maybe $4 a day, $5 a day, something like this. So there is this huge difference around the world, and the DAO works worldwide. At the end, we're gonna pay the same amount of token, or this is my idea at least. Same amount of token wherever you are, doesn't matter. Okay, we value human contribution at the same level. Especially because it would be a sort of a technological nightmare just to know to pay you according where you are for the cost of living, which has a meaning also to look in those terms, but it might be impossible to do it. So there is this interesting number, but if we do like what some mathematicians do, they'll remove the top and the bottom. Okay, so we remove 0 and remove 1,000, the 500. Then we have an average that is much lower. So there is a lot of 5, 1, 35, 32. So probably, I don't know, I don't have the calculator in front of me, but I guess it's around maybe $10 or something like this per hour. That would be an average. We don't need to make any decision today. It was just about understanding gauging the feeling of what we are expecting. I don't know if anybody wants to comment on this.
Well, first off, you asked me what my value was per hour per the exact conversation we had today. And I originally said 60 before you asked me that question. And then, yeah, I do value my time. And I think everybody in this room should think about valuing their time a little bit more too. Because what you guys are doing is awesome. Like, everybody in this room is amazing. Like, why are you saying you only get $1?
That's I would say that's then you value contribution, not the hour, right? That's why I answered close to 0, because I see it like that. So you value contribution if someone is contributing something. Otherwise, I can just put like 1,000 bots into Zoom call and they will be paid, right? So I can do that, right? And turn off my camera.
So if you come to a meeting and you don't speak and you just listen and support, you shouldn't be rewarded at all, you think?
Yeah, I think that, yeah.
But the question was how much you should be rewarded you for what you did today. How much you think is correct for your today's contribution?
Because you're registered, you're recognized now as a participant in that pay scale already. You are authenticated as a person.
Initially, I didn't actually understand the question, but now I understand the question. And I think I'm getting a bit more what Manolo is actually chasing. I think the figure is a lot higher. It's not like 251. It's higher than that. Believe it or not, I think it's probably in my case, it's probably close to about 1,000, 2,000. Now I'm actually getting what you're on about.
And
yeah, I moved one over.
Yeah, but now it's more expensive than you.
I'm not the top anymore.
Well, now
you're cheap, actually.
Market value. That's kind of what I was, thinking about. What's the market value? Fair market value.
Yeah, there is no right or way. I didn't suggest anything. Okay, so.
Oh no, for sure.
Yeah,
I was just talking to Mel about that.
I'm asking, each one of you to think how it should work. So, I'm just curious about this because it's clearly we have a new problem now. Because what we expect is completely huge gaps. Okay, there is at the moment a 2,000% difference.
Okay, so maybe reframing the question is, okay, so just thinking about it in a silo, like just in an hour of your time on a typical day for a call, as a typical person in your region, what do you think is a fair price? I would say, yeah, I would say somewhere around 30 is what I would think.
Yeah, listening to everybody, I'm moving my 5 to somewhere close to 30, 50 I would pay myself.
Okay.
So what I wrote in the chat was this, like, part of it also is if my motivation, I just wrote this, if my motivation was tokens and financial, then what would motivate me to come? Because if there was nothing else, like if that was, and I would be like, well, if somebody said for $5 you can go to this random meeting, I would be like, I think I got better things to do. But if someone said, hey, I'm going to give you $25 US, that's like $150,000 Canadian. That's a joke in Canada. If you like it, I don't even know if like $25 would motivate me. Like I wouldn't go to a meeting just because someone said here's $25 per hour. I would be like, well, I don't know. So I don't know if that also, I don't want to convolute it, but for me it would be a lot more if it was just, but I think that it's hard for us because we were putting in from here. That's why it's a hard question.
Yeah, but on the flip side, some people might say, well, if I'm going to get $20, then I'm only going to put $20 worth of work into it, right? That's the other thing to really, like Manolo said, it gets a little complicated because people are people, right? People think in different ways.
Yeah, it's pretty complicated.
It's also got to do with the value of what you're contributing, if that makes sense. How you see how valuable that contribution was. If you're just sitting there and like you say nothing, you do nothing, maybe not so valuable, but what you contributed, if that makes sense, if you're following where I'm going with this.
It does, but that's subjective, and we would need to define what's valuable and what's not.
Absolutely, yeah. Yes. But I think I'm going down that rabbit hole.
Well, that's a nuts and bolts rabbit hole. That's not so much a like that's once you've achieved the definition of value, then like I think because we don't want to have everyone think that time is not a value, but at the same time, we don't want people to think that if they say the right words, then they get that infinite fountain of value.
I think we might be spending maybe $2,000 only on meeting every week. Right?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
A lot more than this.
Sorry, say again, Vlad, I lost you.
I think if we compute everyone's time for what we would charge for a consulting job, it would be past maybe $100,000 for 1 hour. So
Yes.
And the thing is, I
the
think
point,
about it.
yeah, no, you can. Sorry, Jim. Go.
No, finish, Vlad, finish.
And the thing is in why I said one is because I think we should not think in how much this value $2. I know we should have some equivalence, but what matter is how much we can trade between ourselves with this, because this is what will matter, maybe.
For me, I'm also trying to think, that's why I said 5 in the beginning, the opposite side of it. It's a bit like when we were discussing how much do we appreciate the contribution from artists. I think that is not a question on the time they spent or what they do. It's also about the global budget. So we decide there's a part that goes to contribution in art and entertainment, whatever it is. And then you get the fraction of that. And the same here for me. If there were 400 people here or there were 8, the outcome wouldn't be that different. So I would value the meeting and then divide among the participants. I'm also thinking in that way that I don't want to be valued disproportionately from what we add as a community right now. And we need to look at the macro of everything we do as well, which, if that helps or makes it even worse, I don't know.
I love that. I really like that idea.
So let me share a little bit of my thinking, okay? And what is important to understand that what I'm sharing is thinking, is not a decision. Okay, I'm just sharing my thinking. So we need to. There is a series of things that we need to consider. First of all, for me, it's a values connected to the risk. Okay, so we are taking a risk in putting time inside this business. So it's not secure money. It's not like I pay you, let's say, $30, and then you're gonna get this $30. We don't know. Only if we succeed, we're gonna get this $30. But in reality, if we succeed, this $30 can do a 10 or 1000x. Okay, so that $30 can become 300 or $3,000. So there is also this aspect. So that creates another level of complexity. Okay, so is how much shall I be paid for the risk I take? So for the risk I take, if just to say a number, okay, if is what is correct is $30, but because they are not sure is a risk connected to it, maybe I should be paid double that amount. Okay, because I'm taking a risk, so probably I'm not gonna get those money unless I really do well. So maybe it should be, just to say a number, okay, $60 for something that is worth 30. Now there is another element though, okay, which this is the killer, the most complex element. So we can be rewarded as much as we want. Okay, we can decide this amount, but whatever we decide, then we to give the $1 value per each token. So let's say I got $30, that will become 30 tokens. I will get $30. Means that the moment I create the liquidity pool, I need to have enough dollars to start the liquidity pool. So if I want to start, if I distributed to the community, let's say, just to say a number, okay, 1 million token, so $1 million. The moment that I create a liquidity pool, I need to be sure that there is enough money. So if not everybody, but most people are gonna sell, they are gonna have the money to come out, so the price, it wouldn't collapse. Because remember, every time that you sell a token, what is happening here, you add, it's like a balance, okay? So you put one token here, means now it's heavier, and also you remove $1 from here, so this is lighter. Okay, so what is happening here is the amount of dollars we have is less, but the amount of token is increasing. So just to make it simple, let's say there are $10 and 10 tokens. Okay, sorry, 10 tokens and $10. I remove one token. Now I got 9. I to a mess. I sell one token. So now there are 11 tokens and $9. Okay, so now the value of one token is divided 9 divided 11. Okay, and that is what's happening. So that is the problem that we have. So unless we have a lot of money inside the liquidity pool, the moment that the community member starts selling it, the price goes down. if there are a lot of money instead, let's say that we give to, just to say numbers, okay, we give to the community 1 million token, $1 million. Then we have a liquidity pool, again, just to say a number of $100 million. Even if this all of them sell, the price doesn't change much. Okay. So that is the challenge. As more we get paid, and more we need to be sure that we have a massive liquidity pool. Getting a massive liquidity pool is not easy. Cimo.
Yeah, but everybody gave a number.
So what are you trying to say?
What is your number?
It's a little bit, I think, a little bit like you, because whatever I do, I've been doing so much for so long, and I'll keep doing so much that whatever I do, it's gonna be a huge number in my case.
Yeah, but the question is how much for the hour today?
So my thinking, it goes in this way. So let's say for my average contribution, not today. Let's say I should be paid for my specific contribution. I should be paid, let's say, $50 an hour. But because we are taking the risk, I should be paid probably 100 or 150. Okay, that is my thinking, which is not a number, because for me the number needs to come out from sustainability. So we need to build a DAO that is sustainable. That is the goal. Okay, it's not about how much money we put in our pocket. It's we need to succeed with the project. That is our goal. Okay, so the interest of the DAO goes over the personal gain. Okay, so that is how I think. So my thinking here is that is what I think should be right. Okay, between 100 and 150, let's say, because of the risk. But I would look at the math and look what is right, what is sustainable for the DAO, because the goal is to succeed with the DAO. It's not me getting rich and then sell everything and then crash the system. Okay, so I'm not gonna look into my personal perspective. I'm gonna more look into the actual math of the sustainability of the DAO. That's
And
my
doesn't that begin with the number of tokens? I mean, this is a way to get there, but that kind of dictates, that's the macro part of it, right? The number of tokens, and then we can budget and we can break it down into, different pieces, right? Because that's essentially what we have.
But we can decide the entire economy, okay? So we can design how many tokens we have. We can say that, for example, one way of looking at is, if the liquidity pool is so important, we should think how much we can achieve in whatever moment to have a size of liquidity pool. So let's say that we know with I don't know, just to say a number, okay? Let's say that we're gonna become 10,000 people, and each one of us can say, okay, let's put $100 each one of us. So we started the community call, the liquidity. So we know that 10,000. So it's I think 1 million, if I'm not wrong. And then that is the budget that we have. So now we need to do the math and backwards and say, okay, this is the amount of we can distribute ourselves in the next whatever amount of months. Okay, that is a way of achieving something that is sustainable. So now it's the risk would be two kind of risk. Okay, we underestimate what we can do as a liquidity pool. So we set a number, and then we can do much better. Instead of 1 million, we do 10 millions, and therefore we did the wrong math, but we are still stable. The problem would be if we think we will do 1 million, instead we do 100,000. So what will happen is our, let's say, $50 per hour that we've been paid ourselves, in reality, it becomes, at 1 million, it will become $5 per hour the moment that we have only 100,000. Okay, that is the risk that we take. So if we don't achieve our goal, means we'll be all be paid much less than what we thought we were paid. We were getting paid. Chris, go ahead.
It's kind of difficult to actually put a number on the liquidity pool because a liquidity pool has two components. One is the Resonant DAO token. The other one is other currency. So it's basically an exchange platform. What does that mean? That means you put in DAO at the current value, you put the equivalent of other monetary tool to create the exchange potential. So it's kind of difficult for us to speak about the potential or how much of a pool we make, because if we make it, it means that we have to put up the fiat or Bitcoin or whatever other token. So inherently, we're talking about the value of the economy as it is perceived by the outside world. That is what creates potential for a liquidity pool. So one way or another, we need, as we said, the economy needs trade. So I don't want to get too deep into the rabbit hole, but it's near impossible to actually go with fixed numbers and things like that. It's just going to grow on its own. When people feel confident that they can profit and that they're relatively safe, they will invest into the pool. If they don't, if there is no demand for the Resonant DAO, they will not, because when you invest, it means, the investor is expecting that there is a turnover. So anyway, I don't know if I'm maybe completely off with my comment, but I just wanted to clarify that a little bit, although I probably just made it messier.
No, was good, but it shows how complex is the scenario. So there are strategy of building a liquidity pool. So the first, I just gave an example. We as a community member, we finance, but it's not gonna work like each one of us put $100, okay? Because it's gonna be people that put zero and people like it's gonna be put a few thousand maybe. No, so it's not linear, but there is also the fact that you can say you're gonna do a pre-sale of the token, so you start creating the liquidity pool. So you sell the token not in the liquidity pool, but under, I don't know how it's called, under the desk or something like this. So you sell this token. Let's say you start selling chunk of token like 10,000 tokens, 1 million tokens, depend of the interest of the people. So they start pre-buying this token before. So with these dollars, then we create the liquidity pool. So there are different things. There's more action that we can do, but nevertheless, that is why I'm saying there is a risk. And in theory, if you think you should be paid $30, okay, but there is a risk that you need to add on top of this $30. So what is the real price? What is the risk reward that you're looking for something like this? Okay, 2-to-1, 3-to-1. What is the kind of risk? That is one way of seeing it. The other way, which is going to be my way, it's sustainability of the DAO. So for me, succeeding with the project is the metric that we should use. Doesn't matter how much we get paid, even if we get paid $5 per hour. we are gonna get rich anyway. Okay, because if the project succeed, it's gonna work. Okay, it's gonna work for sure. Doesn't matter. So I'm not that concerned about how much we get paid. I'm more today was more understanding what we should be rewarded, but at the moment we've been pretty much stuck to this call. And how much is the expectation of each one of us on that kind of reward? Any comment? Any observation?
Well, we'll have to make the decision and the calculation. I think what gives us the best, to succeed, right? So if it's 10, it's 10. If it's 5, I mean, I don't know, and then adjust if contributions trail off, right, and then die down. So we just need a benchmark, a starting point.
There is one, I think, in reality, on this side, it's much simpler, because even let's say that we take this idea, okay, $30 is what we agreed with, okay, and then we say, okay, but we should be, because of the risk, we double it, okay, so we get paid $60 per hour. We agree on this. We say each token is $1. We give 60 token per person according to whatever metric. Okay, so if nobody says nothing, so it's not gonna happen. This $60. Okay, so but if let's say you are active, you get this $60. Now, the real challenge here is at the end when we do this liquidity pool. Okay, that is where actually we decide how much we're being paid. So it's more about getting frustrated and upset later on more than now. Okay, because now we can say, okay, yeah, 60. Let's do $60. It makes sense. It's pretty good. But then, if we don't achieve the liquidity pool at that number, then it's not going to be $60 in reality. So it's more about getting left down by the math that we will have the moment that we go live with the liquidity pool.
So to fund the liquidity pool, are we going to be like some of the services like you've talked about? There's been a demand. Are those things going to go to fund the liquidity pool to make sure there's enough so when the end comes or whatever?
Sorry, no. Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yes. So how are we funding the liquidity pool? What are the ways that we're doing that?
So now there is it's connected to the moment that we go live with the liquidity pool. So if we create an internal economy, we can go live with the liquidity pool much earlier. Because we have an internal economy, means there is a value already in having a token. So let's say, just to give you a number, okay, let's say that when I do I'm mixing a song, okay, let's say I mix some music, and I usually charge, just to say a number, $1,000 per mix. Okay, now you can do the same, buy the same service with the token at 1,000 tokens. So I create I pegged my work with the value of the token. So if all of us does the same, if we do all the same, now we have an economy where is a token is a value of $1. So now the liquidity pool is easy to create because people will want to buy token to access to our services. You see, and in this way, we start to create a liquidity pool without having large investment, because we created a value on the other side. And therefore, we can start much earlier to have the liquidity pool. But if we don't succeed in creating an economy, what we do, we leverage the speculative token during the bull run, connecting to the community. So that means we need to find investors that create the liquidity pool for with us. Investors can be part of the community members. Okay, maybe some of us will put a few thousand, we put together, and then we we have a starting liquidity pool.
So would another way to look at this be how much are we willing to pay each other? Because we're going to be buying those tokens, right, to fund the liquidity pool. Is that another way of going about this to establish the value of each meeting? Possibly.
Yes, it could be. I mean, there is so many different metrics. It depends on how you want to think about, but that could be one. So let's say that now. So at the moment we see this DAO as this entity that is paying us. Okay, but now think is you paying because you are the DAO. Okay, you own the DAO. So how much are you willing to pay? Those those people that have been asking for $1,000. Okay, I'm
Right.
gonna
Or
name them.
$1. All my money's going to Vlad. All my money's going to Vlad at $1. That's what I'm saying. Maybe to establish that a different way to look at it. What are we willing to pay each other for the services so that we can fund the liquidity?
Yes, exactly. So that could be another thing that we could write in the chat. How much you're willing to pay? Now it's your money, okay? How much you're willing to pay people in this for the contribution of this call? How much you're willing to pay per hour? Please, everybody, write in the chat. And Vlad, go ahead. You have your hands up. I didn't realize you had it.
Is the treasury can sell tokens to finance the liquidity pool anytime it wants, or is a thing of just one time thing and then it's set?
That is again is a strategy that we can decide, but it's if we start early, in somehow we are not in a good position to sell a lot of them. Okay, so we will sell them for little money. It would be not a good idea. So we will need to find maybe selling a little bit of a chunk over time until we become bigger and the demand is start to grow, and then we can sell them a higher price.
Yeah, understood. I was thinking more long term because, for example, if someone off the network of the DAO wants to use a service, it would buy from only already emitted tokens, or it would buy from the treasure. That was the thing.
So let's say that we need to start up the community, okay, the DAO, and we open our services to member outside the DAO. So what they need to do is to buy the token so they can purchase your service. So now there is a two priority. First of all, we need a liquidity pool so they can buy and sell those tokens. But it also means that then you can sell your token and get out. Okay, and therefore we need the problem is again the same at a smaller scale because there are not many of us. But the problem is exactly the same. So if we create a liquidity pool that there is a really, let's say, there's $10,000, but then we distribute it to ourselves something like $100,000, then those $10,000 are gonna disappear in a second, and the value will collapse of this token. So it's always about proportion. Hopefully, it makes sense what I'm saying, Vlad. But I think you study economy, so you should understand this balance, right? Money in and out,
Yeah.
to change yeah. So that is the challenge. So we need a liquidity pool that is connected to the amount of token that we distributed to keep the price stable. If it's too small, it's gonna collapse. If it's too big, it's gonna stay stable, and there is no problem. if instead we keep the economy closed, so people can buy the token, but then nobody can sell the token and get out, what it means that we start, the DAO sells the token, and the DAO start collecting those dollars for the future liquidity pool. So we start today, you can buy token, okay? Everybody can buy tokens, and nobody can sell it. Only the DAO can sell it. So the DAO starts selling and accumulating dollars.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, and maybe it should be a strategy. So us can offer service, and tokens should only be at the start to be sold by the treasurer, the DAO, and then we would get this liquidity pool by offering services and not only the project, the DAO. So.
Yes. So for me, if we should divide this in phases. Okay. First point is distribution, token distribution. So we should distribute the token within the community. And this is done through the reward system. And then there are some tokens instead that are dedicated for selling directly. So we create by distributing the token. Now you have token to buy service to someone else. Okay, this is how we build the community, the economy. Okay, so the token needs to be distributed so we can use them. So first part, distribution of the token. Then start this economy where each one of us can offer services and whatever. Okay, so we do teaching. Sometimes we do a lot of those teaching at the moment, but maybe in the future can be also any other kind of services and product, of course. Then we're gonna go into the other aspect. When we have an economy, we start open for people outside. And
Yeah,
then,
so there should
sorry,
be. Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, the last part. And then in 2.5 years, when the bull run starts, then we go into another phase that is the one of actually offloading the capital so we can turn this into dollars and then finance the next phase of the DAO. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
That's okay. So I'm wondering, should there be like an internal members price, and maybe you adjust it down because I think the point here is to help each other out to do that. So instead of that $60 or whatever, we agree on a price, and then if we do work outside of the DAO for people who have already approached you, once we've established ourselves, then is that like a higher rate that we sell that token for?
So for let's say that we create a discount system. Okay, one way of looking at this is each one of us is going to level up. Okay, so at higher level you have higher discount for the community. So we reward ourselves for the contribution that we did over time within the community. So someone that is level 5 has, just to say a number, okay, has a 5% discount. For someone that is level 1, just joined, it just doesn't get any discount. Okay, so that is because it's just a member that just joined. So
Right.
some member that has been contributing, level 5. I just said that 5% level 5. Maybe it's
Sure.
it may be 10 or maybe 7, maybe 20, whatever. Okay, so we
Right.
can decide a system of discounting the contributors.
Right, but if we're looking at it from the other way of, okay, what are people willing to pay here for each other's services? And we establish something, we want to throw lighter fluid to get the fire going. What number would that be so that we can start to fund? You see what I'm saying? And then if at some point, okay, we got this thing going, and then we go external, then we have a different rate, or I don't know. Right now, the goal is to try to fund that and get things going. So do we come down in the spirit of helping each other out? Do we come down on that rate just to kickstart it, and then we reap it later externally if the demand is there, or later down the line when everything, the bull run, like you mentioned? That's all I'm wondering.
Yeah, my thinking here is at the moment we are discussing and looking at the problem. Okay, and therefore we've write down different solution, different prices. So what we do, we gauge ourselves. So now today we actually find out some really important numbers. Okay, there is a massive gap between people that says 0 and people that say 2,000. Okay, the gap is huge. And now we have, at least we have something to consider. Now we know the gap is this one, but we also know that there is maybe because in the US that is the average. I mean, you guys get paid $35 roughly an hour, and that therefore those numbers was coming out as a normal, acceptable. I don't know because I don't live in the US, so I don't know what's the price, what $35 means for you guys.
Well, cost of living is higher too, so that's another factor.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't, but it's a weird thing. Okay, numbers is always weird. So, but the $35 came out as a $35 as a acceptable price, and of course, in places like where I live in Italy, I don't even know how much they get paid because I've always been working in the UK, but I know that the $35 is unseen. It's just some really good job get paid so much, and probably in Brazil is the same scenario. Vlad, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think what I was missing from what we were talking, it's maybe we could have some DAO initiatives that we can add on, and these tokens that are invested on it are for the liquidity pool. So we have this cycle of getting money from outside, and then we are investing ourselves by increasing the liquidity pool if you want be part of the liquidity pool. So yeah, one of the things that I thought.
So my thinking is this one. Okay, first of all, we are on. We are gonna start with the DevNet. Okay, so we are just experimenting at the moment, and therefore we can't accept any real money in. We're gonna start rewarding ourselves, start having those tokens. We learn how to use the wallet, and how to reward ourselves. It's a lot of technological elements that we need to fix. Creating this smart contract, we become good at understanding those smart contracts. We understand that some micropayment don't make sense. Maybe we can say, just to say ideas. Okay, let's say that we have those calls and people that needs to join at least, just to say a number. Okay, 5 calls a month, even just to be rewarded. Otherwise, you're not part of the rewarding system. So we can find a system that actually more have a different kind of a dynamic, and in trying to create how do you call it? A much more fair system for everybody. And so all these things is done before we actually go live. Then we're going to be, hopefully, maybe in 6 months, 9 months, we're going to be ready to go live with the blockchain. And then we start the process of thinking about how to open, when to open, and so on. But we need to have ResonantOS working. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. We need the community to be bigger. More we postpone to a level that we are in a good position, and more value we have. Okay, so with the moment that you have value, you have also people that is interested. So every action that you do get not rewarded, but get result, do an impact that is higher per action. That is for my understanding, is the goal. Okay, to grow to a level at one point. We are big enough to say now we can talk about and say, look, there is all those services, all those things that can be done inside the community. We can open, or people, buy the token and get in. All right. I don't know if someone else wants to talk or have a question. If If not, we pass the time of the meeting. Okay, Chris.
Sorry, if you wanna end the meeting, that's
No,
that's
no,
fine.
no,
I
no.
was just
It's
gonna comment on some of
yeah.
the text content. So tied to Bitcoin, Vlad, there is no way or reason to tie to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not as liquid as Resonant OS aspires to be. So it may be tied to the coins that are mostly used for transacting, for example, like Ethereum, BNB, things like that. So it's different currencies actually, and you create different liquidity pools. One thing that Manolo we haven't actually discussed is exchanges. I think that's a much more important issue than liquidity pools in the beginning.
So the exchange is a cost. Okay, so to be part of an exchange, you need to pay them, and at the beginning, for us, it doesn't make any sense. There is also another thing about the exchange. The moment that you are inside an exchange, you're already big. Okay, that is the mentality. So to actually create the FOMO, we need not to be on exchange the moment that the bull run starts. Okay, so investor will see us as a early investment. The moment you are on an exchange is the moment that people start selling. So it needs to be done really, really well. So we will go into exchanges at one point when it's right, and maybe when we get invited, more than paying to be part of exchanges. Small exchange will want you without being paid, because a token that is fresh, is new, everybody wants it, especially something like ours that there is a community behind, and so on. So are all things that we need to consider, but at the right time. That is all about timing and strategy. But it's something that we need to think in again in 2.5 years time. Regarding the liquidity pool, at the beginning is because every liquidity pool require money. Okay, so at the beginning it's better to open one, and we open the one that is the easy to access, which is with the dollars. Okay, because the point here is for us to get out and people to get in, and we connect with something that is stable. Dollars stay there. So what we see is the price of our token going up or down. Okay, respect the dollar. If we peg to something like, sorry, not peg, if we create a liquidity pool with the Bitcoin or another token, and that token grows faster than ours, what we see is our token losing value. And that is psychologically not nice. So instead, we start with dollars that most likely we're going to go up. And therefore, we created this FOMO, say, okay, it's happening, and more people are going to buy. Any other questions? Okay, so I don't, because on this, okay, now I see the hands. Mr. Geist.
I think one thing we should do is maybe in the 2 years, because like you said with the DAO in 2 years, but in the meantime, we should focus on recruiting, well, not recruiting, that's the best word, getting people to join the project and creating these services. And people that have the same, the shared, I don't want the word for it, but you know what I mean, shared ideology. Have all these projects and more and more, and then integrate it more into as the project, the Resonance DAO and the Resonant OS evolves, and integrate it all. these services, as they become more diverse, I think will start to attract people. And then out of the service, which will help support the DAO when it starts.
So exactly. So an economy is done. If you think about, is you need to offer a service because there is the demand on the other side. Okay, demand and offer. So if we are a community of let's say coders, okay, we are not, but let's say to simplify, a community of coders, it's I mean, we need people that wants to buy the code. So we need that diversity that I've been talking about to be joined. Otherwise, we never have an economy. We only it's going to be minimum. But if we start to have, for example, just to say, okay, creative strategies, businesses, and so on, then now we have okay, I need a graphic designer. So you're doing, for example, the code for this app. You go to the graphic designer, and then you get the exchange. The entrepreneur needs the coder, the graphic designer, the marketer, and whatever. Okay, so then you create a community. At the moment, we are really just more or less one class of people, which are the pioneers, and this is happening by design because we are the one building the infrastructure, so everyone else can join. But therefore, we start with this level, but then we need to grow. So one thing that we need to think about is the incentive of bringing other people, other community inside the DAO. So if we think about at the moment, most of the work of bringing people inside the DAO is done by me, and therefore it's not it's not gonna work for long term. Okay, at the moment it's fine, and probably in the future I will have to adjust my YouTube channel to adapt to the need of the community, but we need to expand how we bring people inside the community. One thing that I invite Mel to join our community, so she helps bringing a level of diversity, even though we're still within the same theme, which is AI, but it's still bringing a kind of a different kind of people. Now, Mel YouTube channel is still need to grow and so on, but is in perspective. It's going to take maybe 6 months to be where I am at the moment. And then there's going to be other people that are going to hopefully do this, especially if we start rewarding. So there are going to be people coming from also directly at one point from the other YouTube channel that Chimo is managing, because that one also is going to attract people that are also outside the community. And there are going to be other people that comes maybe from other YouTuber, people that are thinking about starting YouTube channel within the community, or that doesn't need to be a YouTube channel. Okay, you maybe already be part of a community, and then you invite these people inside. So we need to think about how much we should reward per member that you bring inside. So if you've been inviting people, create your custom invitation link so we can track that your account has been inviting this amount of people, and which is important.
I have a question. I think regarding this. So you've received requests from the outside community for work. Is there any way you could break that down and maybe we could start to structure teams that might be able to handle that? And then we can see how many teams, and then we could determine where are the gaps. And then we might use that to bring people in to our community. It's just a question.
Yeah. So that is the job that Dave is doing at the moment, I believe. Dave and Dustin are working together to do this. And if you want to be part of the team, just get in touch with Dave.
Well, something else that I had run by a couple of members in here was like a newsletter. I was just experimenting with it, how some of the tech companies that, based on the transcripts from this group and the things that are important, how they affect, kind of the things we're interested in, the things we're doing. It's not financial advice. It's just to try, for me, to try to gain a better understanding of what all this entails, while at the same time understanding how it affects purchasing decisions or anything else that I might be thinking about, where the community is going. Basically, like Wayne Gretzky said, skating to where the puck is kind of what I had. So I don't know. I could talk to Chimo about it or Mel and kind of run it by. Just something that I do that for a different industry, my interests, and I see a lot of interest. So I thought, well, what if I applied it over here? So just a thought.
Yeah, totally. Mr. Geist.
Just a quick one. I'm just curious. Does the project currently have an old school RSS feed?
No.
I think we should do that. Kind of like that, just kind of the top, the kind of highlights recent news, regarding the community and the project milestones.
Yeah, so it's as a decentralized community, you should say, okay, there is this need. I'm gonna build it, and then you build it, you manage, and of course you get the support from us in if it's needed. But if you think it's something that you can do and you understand it, please build it. Basically, just that's the word, build it. Dave, go ahead. Sorry,
Yeah,
before
so,
you go, before you go ahead, Dave, I just want to clarify this thing. So look at what I'm doing. Okay, my YouTube channel, my Substack is not the official DAO channel. Okay, this is me. That is my stuff, my business, my work. It's me. Okay, and that is what I'm doing to create and support the DAO. It's my effort. It's not. It doesn't own. It's not owned by the DAO. I can do whatever I want. That is my business. Okay. So that is how each one of us should kind of think about. So you build a business that it also empower the DAO. Okay, that is how I did it, and that doesn't mean that you need to do the same. But this is my way of thinking. So I want to bring the community, discuss about what I'm doing and so on. I do it myself, and I created, and now it's happening. And if more of us are gonna do something similar somehow, then we can grow even faster. We can have much more, and so on. So Chimo joined, started the academy, and then started other channels. Then Chris, Sam, and other people are starting doing. I mean, there is a lot of people in this room that actually started the different calls and so on. So there is people starting to have to be active and so on. Now this can grow to another level. You can say, okay, now that I'm doing this, let's say, for example, Vlad, okay, that has his own event. Now he can turn it's same with Chris and so on. Okay, now I can say, okay, I'm gonna start also a Substack newsletter where I'm gonna talk exactly about what we've been discussing inside the community. Now, what you have a Substack where there's a place to go, where there's links to the DAO and maybe other events and so on. You can do whatever you want. But plus, it's a way for you to start making money, because you could do, I don't know, just to say a number, 3 articles a week, and one of them is a paid article. and therefore people can subscribe and pay the subscription for those articles and whatever. Okay, so you can think a business connected to it and keep supporting the DAO. This is how I'm doing myself. I try to become self-sufficient, so I don't need to find any other work. And the only work I need to do is to build the DAO and carry on doing this and stay sustainable. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to respond to Mike's question about, putting together an inventory of the community talent pool. I have been, making a form, like an intake form, for people that are interested in, being considered for paid work. So if you're interested in contributing a skill and being paid for it, DM me and we'll see if we can find a spot for you.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe David, we need to find a way to promote this within the community. Maybe create like a visual or something, and every now and then we post it.
Yeah, that could work.
It can be also a Substack article. So think about, this is how I'm also thinking about the Substack. Sometimes if the article that you are writing is in line with my channel, what you can do, we can post on my Substack with your signature. Okay, so you wrote the article on my Substack that is Augmented Mind. So at the moment, Augmented Mind is this portal, and I'm the writer for this Augmented Mind. So all the articles are signed by me. But in the future, it's possible also to say, Dave wrote this article about working talent needed inside the DAO. So we've shared that thing. You tag it, therefore people find out about you. Now you have, in my case, there is 1,400, I think, something like this, a subscriber to my newsletter. Now you create that thing, and 1,400 people will find out about your Substack. Okay, so it's a massive acceleration for you. We share content that is useful for all my subscribers. So it's a win-win scenario. Okay, this is open to anybody. Of course, I will decide because it's my Substack. Okay, so I will decide that, yeah, this is suitable for my subscriber, and then we can do it. But in that way, it's a massive kickstart for your Substack if you want to do it. If not, nevertheless, you wrote an article. We share this with the community, and maybe in the case of Dave, if there is this form, we can share the form and so on, and promote it. All right, I think it was a long one. We can stop here. Thanks a lot, everybody.